Hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to House Seats Presents. Oh, you just knocked knees with me.
Ooh,
Andy's knocking knees with me here already this morning. Wow, this is going to be one of those mornings, I think. I'm a struggle here today. So not only did our guest not make it today, had a fever of 101, I barely made it here, I think. Let's just say thank God for Miley today. Miley did our makeup, and more, but I have to say I don't even look anything like I did this morning when I woke up.
Very boyish now.
I look very young. And Andy's here. Andy Wright's here from House Seats. What?
Yay.
We are going to cover a few things here for you today. Now that this is episode number 38.
We're getting so close
in
to
our
50.
arsenal. I know. He has some thoughts on that. So when we hit 50 shows, you better put your DVRs, but you're already going to be able to watch this whenever you want. Anytime. VegasVideoNetwork.com/live or house-seats-presents. And you can watch us anytime. So let's get into a couple things. First off, like I said, we normally do what, like the weekend review or week coming up. And we already did a few things this week. We went, this week, we found ourselves, I guess it was Tuesday night, we found ourselves going to Kurt Elling and Branford Marsalis at the Smith Center. Oh my gosh. First of all, the talent on that stage, and they did it in the main hall. They did it in Reynolds Hall. They didn't even do it in Cabaret Jazz, which they could have probably done like two shows.
A bit of a bummer to me. I think it should have been in the jazz room.
A little bit of, if you've ever seen Kurt Elling or even know anything about him, in fact, if you've seen Clint Holmes, because I saw Clint after the show and I said, Kurt Elling reminds me a lot of you because of the style this gentleman sings it. Do you know who Kurt Elling is?
Yeah. It's a very throwback style.
He usually sings at like the Village Vanguard in New York and places. So it's very much like, I remember his albums so well that, it's very much like an intimate kind of thing he does. And his sound is something so unusual for a performer. I guess I got goosebumps. Either that or I'm still freaking out from last night. I don't know. Sometimes I can't tell what my body's doing right now. Today.
The Half-Life.
It's the Half-Life. Oh, look, he saved us and put up some logos for them. Kurt Elling, there's an old song that Billie Holiday does called He's Funny That Way. He's funny. And he does a whole riff on that about, I think, probably his wife or something on one of his albums. He was incredible. And Branford Marsalis, who, those of you who, watched The Tonight Show back in the day with Johnny Carson. Was he doing it with Johnny Carson or he did it with Jay Leno? Before he had Kevin Eubanks, yes. There was Branford Marsalis, and he killed it. I mean, he was amazing on that. So to see him perform live with his group and with Kurt, it was pretty awesome.
Those guys like that are amazing because as easily as we breathe, that's music for them. It's just
that's a really good analogy.
It's something that's beyond what normal human beings have. That's how Clint is. When you see him, it's that you can't describe in his performance is just because there's music through every pore of his being.
And that's exactly right, because there's a moment, because I took Jay with me, and he wasn't a lot of people don't understand when I used to have my license plate that said BK Jazz, or my email address I'm giving out to the world now, BK Jazz. I had that since AOL days, okay? That was my favorite music style before I became an EDM fan and, all the music that isn't music, apparently people think. But we do want to have DJs on. We just talked about that at the top of the show. I do want to have some DJs on this show, so don't take it offensively if you just press play. But he at one point, Kurt was like doing this sort of like almost rap in there, or like almost like music, almost like spoken word. If you ever go to an event where they're just singing along with the light little music going on, he was doing that, and the audience just loved it. But Jay's like, "What's he doing? Is he like kind of?" He's telling a story. He's weaving the story through the music in a way that most people don't really, if they've never seen a performer like that, and they just are used to people just singing, and coming out with it or whatever. In fact, Branford Marsalis is talented in his own right, but it was funny because at the top of the show, it was just the band and his saxophone and stuff. And Jay's like, "Is this the whole show? Am I going to be watching this elevator show go on?" I said, "No." I said, "Kurt Elling will come out and sing," but but Branford, he does the same. He matches the voice with his instrument too, and that's like you're saying, like it's coming out of every pore when they're performing.
Yep,
it literally lives, breathes in them,
and it goes. Those nights go fast because it's a big ask in modern audiences to say you're going to look at 8 musicians or 10 musicians and that's it. Like, because they're so, especially in Las Vegas, they're so used to visuals.
Yeah,
but
true.
Man, once you get ones like that up there, it goes so fast.
Yeah, and it fades away because it is a big space, but you kind of, the way they lit it, you know, it kind of just encompasses the performers on stage, those members. So that was an awesome show. I believe we'll give a plug to the Smith Center, even though they're not sponsoring this hour. Wynton Marsalis will be there for live jazz, live from Lincoln Center, October.
That's
so I think tickets
awesome.
start for $20. I believe that is in Cabaret Jazz.
Yep.
Yes. So, and then of course, because we couldn't make the weekend, you know, happen faster, had to go out last night.
Still working on time travel.
We're working on, yes, and I would like to go back and read. No, our friend Amy, who's been a guest on here. Amy Guess has been a guest on here. It was her birthday last night, so we went to Hakkasan. So that's part of the reason I'm kind of struggling today. There's nothing like rum that will I've been Hakkasaned. Yeah, and Scott, our producer over here, wants to go with us next time we go because, you know, he was like, well, I don't want to go to those nightclubs. That seems like a waste of time, you know. That's exactly how you're talking. Because he talks in our ear, so that's what
James Earl Jones.
Yes, he does. And he's like, I don't want to go to no club. I'm too old for a club. And I'm like, no, not where we go. We have a skybox, so it's kind of right next to the sound booth.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we don't actually stand in the dance floor with everybody. We're kind of elevated a little bit. Have our own bathroom. Very important.
Yeah. That gets to be a bit much.
Level 5 is the one we're on. He's a little website. That is, I guess that's Hakkasan.
That's awesome.
We're up. Okay, we're way up there is where we usually are up there. So you kind of look down on the DJ and everyone else there, and so you can see how crazy it was. And last night was the Chainsmokers, who have one of the #1 songs in the world right now. And what's fun for them is they actually sing, or one of them does. So, you know, he kind of gets up on the DJ booth and started singing along. So, I mean, they definitely know their audience and they play very well to the people in the crowd. So we had fun. Thank you, Hakkasan. Thank you, Thomas Gorman. Thank you for our table. It was fun. And now we're trying to survive today. So I appreciate that. My Friday has started. So, rounding out the weekend, we do have tonight, we have an event for DW out at Mandalay Bay, and we have a a very soon move coming for DW Bistro. So
exciting.
It is exciting because this has been about a 2.5-year long project that we've been working on. So DW, as we talked here on the show, yes, I'm the owner of DW. I add that to my hat as well. We are moving the restaurant. October 9th is our last official brunch at DW Bistro. So the last all-day mimosa will be served at 6115 South Fort Apache Road on October 9th. And then we will be closed for a short time by moving everything out of the restaurant. Lights, tables, chairs, everything. Rudy. Yeah, we'll take Rudy with us. Pots, pans, glassware, bartenders, everybody. And we'll be open hopefully by November 1st at the Gramercy, which is not even a half a mile from our current location. So there you go. Work, play, eat, exercise, and never leave home. Thankfully, I don't live there right now either because it would be a little too much for me to be working and playing. Exercise part, I don't really do lately.
I was thinking about that when you were talking when we were with Ann the other day, the 2.5 years of it. It's kind of an awesome concept in terms of stature of when you go to high school, you go to college, it's expected. It's a 4-year endeavor usually.
Yeah.
When you get beyond that, when's the last time you have something that did not come to fruition for a few years that you continually work at? Most people don't get that because it's you get into a groove and you work and you might do a show for a year or 6 months or something, but it's not an extended endeavor that you finally get to see happen. Like unless you go back to school or something. No, that's a really cool experience to watch happen and a journey to go on.
So he brought Ann Martinez of Fantasy. Her roster is quite large.
Boz.
And now Boz.
Yes.
Anne has a special place in our heart too because she does her show Alice, and she has an amazing talent for just getting work done and creating it. And that's basically the same thing we've done. I mean, and Andy, of all people, Andy Eiler and Nerta over at House Seats, they've all been so patient with me having 2 businesses, and we'll talk about that too. That this has taken a lot out of my creativity to put this together, and to now see where it's at. I mean, if you drive by Gramercy, what once was so quiet and dormant for so many years, our dream is coming up fast.
Yeah.
And they started working on it not only a few weeks ago, and it's amazing how quickly every single day they have more and more things that come in there.
Changed landscape every morning.
And we have a special person taking over our old DW, and we can't talk about that yet because they don't think they've announced it, but we're not leaving our old space just to anybody. So that old restaurant at Fort Apache will be something special, and then we will create something even more grown-up DW, whatever you want to call it for us. Just a feeling of accomplishment. Thank you for that, because it's been a true labor. And with that, I think we're going to talk a little bit today about our upcoming new show that we have, Small Business, Big Voice. We'll get to that. So, yeah. And so that's kind of, the state of things right now as far as the week and the weekend goes, but there's a lot going on in the next couple of weeks. And so Andy, we brought Andy on not only because he doesn't have a fever today. See, it was
me or the homeless guy up front.
I have to say it is a little scary, but we've been doing this now for so many episodes, and we've done this and we've winged it before.
We've winged it.
See, clearly I can't speak languages today, but he runs in. I'm in the makeup chair, and William, the Henry VIII or whatever the name is that we're having on the show, had a fever and had to rush to hospital. So there he is playing Moses.
Nope.
No.
That's Jacob, Joseph's
If he were
father.
here to tell us who he was, then he could fess up to the character that I'm pointing
that Jesus?
out. I don't know. Moses, Abraham. It's a shepherd. He was a shepherd in Egypt. So anyway, William.
Bill Evans.
Like the food chain in the back east, the Bill Evans food chain. Bob Evans. I don't know. Whatever.
Close. It's his brother.
Oh, okay. He was supposed to be on today, and he is in Baz, and he plays what I was going to say is probably my least favorite character in the entire show, because he's not in it enough. That's what I was going to. That was the line. I wasn't going to offend him in it. I wasn't going to offend you, Bill. But he's awesome because he sort of plays the master of ceremonies. When you think about these interwoven, Baz Luhrmann movies, one of them being Moulin Rouge, which had obviously the main.
Which, by the way, you got to go back because they had to change all that. Now that Moulin Rouge is going to Broadway, they had
to take
changes
a few
and
things. Yeah, and so and that's awesome that Moulin Rouge is going to. But we'll wait to talk more about you, Bill, when you come on, because we're not going to give you that time right now. I don't know.
We might need to.
I think our calendar's full. So it's fine. So what we were going to talk about with that on that side of it is, all these performers that you see on the strip. We interviewed Lisa Marie Smith from Baz recently. All of them can go back to, it's sort of like the interwoven game. They can all go back to Andy Wright, because he has tentacles out there with all these performers to get them to A, be on our show, and B, to get them to be part of our House Seats Presents show. So you've heard us talk several episodes about the set list. We have another one called the hit list. We have another one called Side by Side. Andy is the brainchild of all these little tentacles we have going out there and getting these performers to do other things.
Yeah.
More specifically, as we talk about the closing of Jersey Boys, which is this weekend, and people like Travis Clore and people who we've had on the show, and we've also had as part of our series, we want to keep this talent pool in Vegas as long as they can stay.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that Vegas people think about, because like we're so blessed to have this incredibly deep talent pool.
Yeah,
but it as a culture, I think it's because of everything so instant. It's very easy to say, "I'll go next week. I'll go next month." Another time, and they pass on chances, and these things go, and they don't stay.
Yeah, well, that's what we did. We did this last week. We saw. I guess that's another week in review. Dad and I went, and Jay, we went to see, because my dad always wanted to see the show. And he never went because my mom didn't want to go with him because she doesn't like a lot of swearing. And, this show obviously is very true to Jersey.
Yeah.
If you ever watch The Real Housewives of Jersey, there's a lot of beeping going on. So this show, to all of you fans of Teresa everywhere, the show is very much, it's Jersey.
Is that, well, the Four Seasons themselves helped in creation so that the true nature of their dialect was important.
And I believe the night we went, Tommy DeVito was in the audience, one of the original Four Seasons, the one who kind of, the loudmouth guy, the one who owned all the money to the loan shark. The reason why they kept having to go, him and Bob had to keep performing, that Frankie and Bob had to keep performing, was to pay off a debt to Tommy. But he was in the audience, because I didn't get to see Travis after, but I saw a picture of Travis after the show on Instagram with Tommy. So I'm sure they're trying to get their fill of the show before it closes. And honestly, like you're saying, get a chance to see this. this has been the longest running Broadway show in Vegas among Mamma Mia, Chicago, any of the shows that we've had here, Hairspray. This has run the longest, I believe, of any Broadway production. Yeah, even over Phantom, any of it.
It really, a great line from, I'm going to go back to superheroes, but a great line from an Avengers movie is, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. And I think
which person said that?
Vision.
Okay.
Says it at the end of Ultron, explaining human beings that
we're
flawed,
that.
but it's beautiful because we fail and we won't last.
That's correct.
With these things, like Vegas people, there's so much to do that they think that there will always be these things to do.
Yeah. Yes.
And you have to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And not take it for granted, because this is one of my favorite. I don't like jukebox shows. I find them uninspired. Write your own music in general. But this is one of those that takes itself seriously. Rock of Ages is just silly and funny, so it's a good time.
Right.
This takes itself seriously, but it tells such an amazing story, and it weaves in and out of each of the Four Seasons personas. And it's so seamless in the way they wrote it, the way they tell it, and how true they are to the music. It's I never thought I'd like it, and I went to see Travis. Yeah, I was blown away, and I've seen it several times since. But it will be missed in Las Vegas.
You know, my dad and a lot of people in the audience, I mean, they really respond when the music comes on, because, you know, these were your early day musicians that were, you know, your boy bands of now or any other groups that came. And there were four. You know, they had a hard time finding the fourth in the beginning because everybody was four. You had the Beatles, you had people who were all that was the magical number, was having four people. And I think they were called the Three Lovers. Yeah, they interweave it in the show where at one moment you'll see it. If you get a chance to see it in the next couple of days, you'll see the name just sort of pops into one of the scenes, and they're like, we're the Four Seasons, and they went on to be that.
Yeah, it's true. They capture a great moment in there where the music is magical, and like you said, the audience reaction to it, because they have standards before you hear songs, right? And then he talks about how Bob's character talks about how he and Nick did a quick head arrangement and arranged it, and then over the phone they called in with Sherry. Yeah. And the minute they hit those chords, it hits you in the soul. Yeah. It's different than any of these other top hits that they had been doing before. Right. And then after that, every Four Seasons song is just so magic. Yeah. It is magic in a bottle.
And then different because, you know, I think that one poignant scene where it talks about my personal favorite song in the show is, "You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you." That's the best song, I think, almost one of the best songs ever written. And they had a hard time trying to play that on the radio because everyone's like, I don't know this song. I don't know what you're trying to do here. There's a horn section. There's this. It's a special build-up in the show. They don't reveal the song that they keep talking about until it actually comes on stage, and you have the whole horn section coming in, directed by Keith Thompson, who... hats off to you. He worked with us on We Will Rock You before that. So he's definitely a veteran of all these shows. So, you know, I know he has a lot to do after this wraps up, but
Keith's always busy.
He just did. Actually, Scott just went to Composer Showcase on Wednesday. So
awesome. I'm glad you went.
He saw Keith do his show at the Smith Center. That happens every month, but and it's always very full and always very fun. And it was focused on Jersey Boy folks. So that's even better.
Yeah.
So part of reason having you on, too, is because Rosie, our dear Rosie over there, Rosie the intern, Rosie the Riveter. Hey, Rosie. Hey, girl. She has some viewer questions right in that relate to house seats, and I wanted to have you on here so we could kind of chat about some of those questions because you're in the everyday thralls of house seats.
I'm in the trenches.
You're in the trenches. Rosie, go for it. What's our first question?
All right. Mm-hmm. Okay, first question.
Calm down, Rosie.
House Seats members, in addition to performances, also enjoy access to local services. Is this true? If so, how does it work?
Services. Survey says, ding. Well, in 11 years, in 11 years it's been. Isn't that crazy? There. 11 years it'll be in October. You know, we have mostly focused on shows. But there is an element that has popped in over the years of different services.
And there's services is broad, but there's a lot of things that you can do that are salon treatments, and they're not gender specific, but they are certainly geared towards where they're things that are male based or female based that people can enjoy. And then also, like, I guess it would fall into services because it's not a show. We have really cool things like Children's Discovery Museum or interactive things that
like the wax museum.
wax museum, kiss mini golf, things that are really fun that you can go do, which isn't quite a service, but it's also not going and sitting at a show.
It's sort of anything with a reservation time or a time that you can attend something and a perceived value. So very good question on that side. I mean, yeah, we've done mini golf. We've actually done tea times out at Badlands and different golf resorts over the years. Salon appointments.
Which is important to think about for people thinking about joining is who should join, because it's in one name.
Right.
So knowing that you may or may not want salon treatments is whose name should
That's
be
why
on
you
the
buy
account.
2 memberships per household. Give us double your money. No, the female can have options. The male can have options, whatever because we do have, I think regular, we had American Male. So that's, they do grooming appointments for men. Anything with a reservation time really is something you could use. And there's no bounds to what we do. The primary function is for shows. And so 90% of the things you'll see on there is show related. But yeah, we welcome all services. So if you'd like to offer your service, if it's legal, let us know. I think we did do massage once, but I was kind of making sure. I think you and Eiler had to go check out where they were just to make sure they weren't like, on Spring Mountain or random places that might not be the most apropos, place to go to massage. Not that there's anything wrong with those places. God bless you for your services. So yes, we do more services. That's a great question. Thank you, Rosie. I love it.
Let's see what's next, Rosie.
What's next in your mailbag?
All right, next in the mailbag. Hi, Bryce.
Hi.
I'm a loyal viewer of House Seats and a member too.
Woo!
Yeah, indeed. I'm excited for your new show, Small Business, Big Voice.
Oh, wow.
I'm hoping that you'll cover your own career. How did you come to create House Seats? How does this overlap with your work at DW Bistro? And finally, how do you manage it all?
Wow, this sounds like a stalker. Hello to you. I appreciate the question. As we kind of talked, and there's our logo. Yay! It's going to be altered a little bit because we kind of felt like it looks like XM radio, so we're going to change a little bit of the look and feel. But this is the gist of this, and here's the deal. Threefold question about that. I'm going to get right into Small Business Big Voice on that question because this is a passion of mine. Being that I haven't worked for anybody else for about 15 years. And it's a very lonely business. It's a very lonely world to be in business by yourself because if you did not go to business school, which I did not, I learned in the moment of things. And even how House Seats was born was born out of, a need among the shows. And it had to be something that was a lot more, I can't use my sentences today, so you're going to have to help me fill in, something a lot more seamless and not so archaic. And so the business was built out of a need, but when you're doing businesses, and this is something that I've read, you're sort of walking this path by yourself, but you don't have to be alone. And so what I've started to realize as I've cultivated the show with Scott's help too is, I want to learn some of the things that I have made a lot of mistakes. Building House Seats for 11 years, but I had a business partner in the beginning. But building it alone for several of those years before DW came along, and then getting into the restaurant business, which is a very difficult business to do, and the challenges and pitfalls of that, and the joys of it as well. You're just very alone, and so I've had to institute consultants and help and controllers, accountants, attorneys, everything you can imagine. There's so many pitfalls that I like to save the next person who gets into business, and we've had every performer we've had on here is a small business.
They are their own business.
Auditioning. They're doing things, even coming out of, for instance, one of them is Becca Cody. And she is one of those people. I mean, she just recently left Rock of Ages and she's going to pursue her own thing and she's doing her jewelry. And I think people who get into business, I want you to realize that you're not by yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's an overwhelming jump because you also... you feel that who would possibly help me because even if it's a completely unrelated field, you feel it's competition, even though it's really not.
Yeah.
So people feel that there are these walls up that are completely perceived and not really there.
Yeah, they're not really there. And I want to sort of uncover that and sort of knock that whole thing down with people that we have, because I have a lot of access to a lot of fascinating people, great authors that we can Skype in here, ones who actually will physically be here. So I've had a really huge response to this concept with people, and knowing that I want to learn, and so does everybody else, on how certain business things we all ask the question of can get through, and they're going to talk a lot about their experiences, I mean, someone I love the most, and we're going to get him on here, is John Maxwell. I think I talked about in one of the last episodes about he writes a lot of books for the business owner and for the leader in us. And it's not just for business owners; it's for people who want to lead something, and and want to be in charge of something. I think it's
awesome because we're in a digital age where you can still. You don't have to jump off that ledge and start your own business.
Right.
You can, if you have a hobby that is reconditioning furniture that is soothing to you, you can also make a lot of money on that, but people just don't know how.
Right.
And this is going to be a really nice, gentle hand of, let us show you what you can do.
I'm a gentle hand. Oh, thank you, Andy.
My hands
Speaking
are freezing.
He's freezing, but I'm gonna have you look at his fingernails. Well, you need a new one.
I know.
Ava needs to redo those for you. So his daughter has Chiari, and he's had Ava on here. Ava's Avengers. He's had her on here, but what month are we in? September is. I'm like, is it October? I don't know what month it is. Clearly, I woke up wrong.
Last night must have been awesome.
Last night was epic. September is Chiari Awareness Month.
Yes,
so you're paint because I came into the office obviously a couple weeks ago and I was like, why are your fingernails painted? I don't judge, clearly. But it was just funny to see his fingers.
It's a
painted.
lot less mysterious when I'm walking around with a 7-year-old girl holding my hand.
Yeah, that's fine, of course.
But when I go around by myself, it's a little bit different.
It's all right with it. Yeah. But so it's Chiari Awareness Month, and so she painted those on you, or did you do that?
No, I can't even color in the lines.
There you go. So then she is needed. Thank you, Ava, for painting his nails. And hi, I know you're in school right now. Hi, Ava. Don't drink. Don't go to Hakkasan. Don't grow up and go to EDM festivals. They're all horrible. Just kidding. Again, I want to have the DJs on. Thank you. So here we go.
Yay.
So this is the Chiari Walk Across America, and this is in one day.
A couple of days.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Okay. Well,
she will actually know. We won't be there.
You won't be at this because this is a national one.
They do have one in Las Vegas.
Okay.
We will be in California. Ava's racing also.
Because you're racing. And
we do a lot of races to help raise money for either different charities or families with medical conditions through Ava's Avengers. And she's doing one for a little boy with Chiari who has had 12 brain surgeries in 3 years.
Wow.
And in 2 weeks, she races against kids from all over the world. And she always races, she's 7, but she'll race against like 9 to 13-year-olds.
She's amazing.
And it's going to be up in Lake Tahoe. And it's for the National Chiari Foundation, CSF, Chiari and Syringomyelia Foundation. They're doing a big national campaign because a lot of, when we found out, she was told all the things she couldn't do.
Right.
To hell with that. Like,
we
won't have her play hockey, but
exactly.
I'll send you a list of things she's done.
Yeah.
And we set out to do that, and she's been she inspires me and has me bouncing back from knee surgery and other things.
Yeah.
But they're really doing a great campaign to show. There we go.
It was Avengers. Go on and like that on the face place.
Doing a great job of showing kids that you can. You don't have to sit on the couch and watch life. You can go out, live life, even with Chiari. Some days are going to hurt. But the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and it might not hurt. So
and she's very strong. We had her on the show, and she's a super dynamic individual. I love her. She's a good kid. Oh, well, Andrew's going. I love it. Fantastic. Getting back to Rosie's question, I'm trying to remember the other parts of it. We were talking so much about small business. Well, yeah, we'll talk definitely on small business, big voice. We'll talk about how House Seats started, how DW started. Because people ask me every day there how the restaurant, what we started, how we began, what was it like, and so I'm going to cover all of that stuff. It's not going to be mostly about me, but I'm going to actually have these people on talking about their experiences and shedding some light in some of the areas that I still need to learn. And every day is a learning experience.
Yep. And
if we're not learning, we're dead. So I really want to keep learning. So that's kind of a selfish reason to start the show, but it's going to help everyone else out there watching. I know, myself included in that we're not alone. We're doing business. So thank you for the question, Rosie. And for that wonderful stocky viewer. And that was a lot of information you knew. But I guess your whole life is on the internet.
That's all right.
There you go. Hey.
What's next,
Do we
Rosie?
have a third question? Or we
do, yeah.
We do, okay.
Okay, final question. You're a native to Las Vegas.
Oh.
What, in your opinion, are the best and worst developments in Las Vegas?
Uh-oh.
Best developments, House Seats presents.
You know what? Honestly, okay, I'm going to give my own plug for our own website because you know what? We were just saying this. Arlen and I were just saying this to another friend of ours too. I would love to have been a member of our site because honestly, I got in the elevator the other day in our new office, and the guy said, "Oh, you have." He was in another office. He said, "What office are you?" I said, "Oh, we're 275." He's like, "Oh, house seats," and I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I love your business. I just joined a week ago, and I have to tell you, my wife and I have in a week, he's already in love with the site." And I have to say, from work, and as you said before about seeing Jersey Boys and the shows and the caliber of things we have here, I mean, even who we're going to interview, Bill Evans today. We have tickets to Baz on house seats. We have tickets to these shows. You get an opportunity to see the show and be an ambassador of Vegas. I think that's one of the best things ever created for us, because it gives the locals a chance really to be immersed in what built Vegas.
Yes.
Because we're down there. Because when I was a kid, growing up here, yes. When I was a kid, I was very enthralled with Steve Wynn, and I wanted to go to the opening of the Mirage, and my dad took me to the opening of the Mirage, and it was in 1989. And we always went to gourmet rooms and things like that. And so I was always immersed somehow on the Strip, which most kids might not be. And there's still a handful of us locals that live here. When I was born here, there was 200,000 people living here. And as we talk to every guest that comes on here that comes from somewhere else, all of the performers, they love being here. And I love that you have done that same thing with House Seats Presents and cultivated that talent to stay here when we do shows at Brooklyn Bowl, at House of Blues, that you sort of bring that community together. And it's very evident in those shows.
And what's awesome with House Seats, when you're buying tickets, you're choosing your shot. You're going to spend your money on what you know you're going to like and you must see.
Right.
When you have House Seats, you can take risks and find new things, and you find things that you like more.
Yeah.
You didn't even know exist. Like Jason getting to go to that last night.
Oh yeah.
That's something that could have, it's the same example as House Seats of, that's sold out or the tickets are gone, but I'm going to get it on that one.
Right.
And you find something you love that you never would have gone to.
Yeah.
That's what I really love about House Seats, is the accessibility to every art form. Like
anything.
We do. If it's live, we have it.
Yeah.
And so people can really introduce their kids.
If it's live, we have
great things.
I like that. And best, I love food. And so we have really awesome food here in Vegas. So that's helped. But the worst thing would be
it's going over Scott's time limit.
Scott has his own time. Probably going over today. That would be the worst time. We are over. See, we didn't even need Bill Evans here. Sorry, Bill. Bill Evans. That's also a very famous jazz piano player.
I love that you're still talking.
We're still talking about Bill. Hope your fever goes away. We'll see you next time. The countdown has begun. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Bye.